All right, look out. Plot twist. This week's episode is not about marketing tips or a sales strategy. We're talking about the fantasy novel that has taken over my life or my brain, and the nail appointments that have become my sacred ritual, and how all of this is secretly making me a better business owner. I am so deep into the ACOTAR series. Send help or maybe don't. And I am getting my nails done regularly. I told you guys in the last episode about my new morning routine. And you know what? I've never really felt more tapped into a new identity that I'm working towards. So these aren't just personal updates. They're proof that becoming who we want to be doesn't always happen, in a boardroom or through a strategy. Sometimes it's in the salon or on your walks or taking a break, sitting on the beach, reading a good book. So if you've been craving permission to enjoy your life and grow your business, this episode is your sign. So let's talk about magic, identity shifting, and why non-work joy might be exactly the thing that you're missing. Welcome back to the Messy Success Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Henson. I help creative business owners and artists build communities around your brand so that business is easy and profitable. When you stay in action, yes, I mean even messy action, only good things happen. We are always learning, and when we can get just as excited about the lessons as the results, magic happens. I've helped million-dollar companies with their marketing, but my mission in this world is to help you step into the best possible version of yourself so you can create your dream business too. We believe in community and people over strategies and tactics. Our theme here at the Messy Success Podcast is the 1% adventure, where we're focusing on getting 1% better every single day. I want you to color outside the lines and embrace the messy journey to take daily action towards your goals. If you've noticed a plateau in your business, we've created a very quick quiz where you can find out your next best move. Head over to elizabethhenson.co/next to find out. Now let's get started. All right, so let's kick it off with a few updates. You guys know that we are coming up on our 200 episode celebration. So tomorrow I'm meeting with my team to just get all of our to-dos in order, things that we're going to be changing, giving a facelift to, any processes or systems around the podcast that we want to elevate. So I'm really excited for that. So all those little things are happening behind the scenes. And you guys know part of this vision that I have is to elevate our studio. And I did end up joining a co-working space here in Virginia Beach called Gather. I'm really excited about it. We were at Assembly for a year, thanks to our sponsor, Subflow. And Gather is much closer to my house. I've been there before. We've hosted meetings there before. They do have a podcast studio, but I don't necessarily think I'm going to need that as much. But it gives me an opportunity to get out of the house, to meet people. Their community efforts are really incredible. And it's just scratching a little bit of that itch for me to get outside the house and work with people and be able to have client meetings somewhere other than my home, because I've actually never really had them at my home. I've only worked remotely. And I have such a big client base now that is local that a lot of times they'll ask to meet in person. And this is a really good opportunity for me to be able to meet them in person and not have to rely on a Starbucks or something like that. So since I made that decision, as far as the podcast goes, I'm just going to be elevating my at-home studio for now. And then we will continue to see what the universe brings forward. I mean, we've still got 5 weeks before we even hit that 200 episode. So, but for now, that's what we're doing. And it feels really good and aligned. And I did spend some time looking for sponsors, but ultimately I just was like, don't wait on anybody else, Liz. This is your expansion. This is your growth. And, let's not sit back and wait for those opportunities. Let's continue to make really forward-thinking, CEO-driven decisions. And that's exactly what I did. And I'm trying to make them quickly because, it seems like I was just saying we have 11 weeks and now we're already down to 5 weeks. So I am moving through the decision-making process quickly, efficiently, while also, we're going to have a big celebration when we hit 200 episodes. I'm just so excited about it. So today's episode, speaking of expansion, that's really what we're going to be talking about because I had a hot seat in my mastermind yesterday. This is my peer-led mastermind, and I really struggle sometimes with what to bring up. And it's not that I'm not having challenges. It's that I always know there's a problem behind the problem, right? So I'm like, okay, we can talk about the decision that I'm trying to make. That's a very tangible 3D offer. But I know their answers aren't going to actually change my mind or put me into any type of action because I knew, being the business coach that I am, that I had a problem behind the problem. And what I was sensing is that it feels, now this is a feeling statement, not a fact statement, that my business is in a plateau. And I'm relating this because I'm not working very hard. So I still have some undoing, some unraveling of this belief that we have to work hard in order to grow and quantum leap into like our next revenue goal. And because I haven't had, quote unquote, a money problem in a while, I haven't had to go into like hustle mode. I've really been coasting in a beautiful way for the last year and a half, probably, but it was like a quantum leap into that. And then I'm kind of just hanging out. And I feel like for the last year, we've kind of plateaued. And I was talking to my mastermind about it because I was like, I don't want to be in a plateau, but I also don't want to work harder. I was like, I read my new book all weekend and I signed a new client on Monday. And they're like, you have all this evidence that you don't have to work hard for your business to succeed. And I just realized how much my brain is still wanting to associate the fact that my business can't grow if I'm not working hard. So this episode is a little bit for me to kind of just self-talk and unravel some of this. But the identity piece is huge, and we cannot step into our next quantum leap until we believe we are ready to receive it on an identity level, right? We've talked about this in the form of like our house being big enough to like fit all the people. Our identity, our embodiment has to be big enough to fit all the dreams. It's the easiest way to break it down is if you can't help 10 people, you can't help 100. If you can't help 100 people, you can't help 1,000. If you can't manage $100, you can't manage $1,000. So we have to be constantly kind of identity shifting from somebody who can manage $100 to somebody who can manage $1,000 to someone who can manage $100,000. On an energetic and identity level, I don't just mean like, sure, we can make lots of money, but are you keeping the money? Are you profitable? Are you growing the money? Right? I have never really had a making money problem. I have a spending all my money problem. So I've had to really learn how to be someone that sets money aside, that invests, so that I'm not spending everything that comes through the door. I did a lot of work around my money beliefs there. So from an identity level, I have been reading ACOTAR. If you're not familiar with it, it's A Court of Thorn and Roses, and it's a series. And this is total fantasy, romance. We're talking like winged creatures. They're called fairies. And it's a little bit smutty. Haven't gotten to the super smut yet, but it's smutty. So I'm like, should I be embarrassed? I don't know how to feel, but I'm like, it's so good. I can't stop reading it. I can't put it down. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I'm really impressed with Sarah Moss, who is the author of this series. So sometimes when these things like plop into my life, I do like to do a little bit of homework about the person. The reason is when my daughter was young and she was reading the Dog Man books, I remember being like, oh my gosh, like these books are so silly. Like, I don't know if I should be bragging about the fact that she's reading these books or if I should be embarrassed. But then I learned about the author and how he was a child with severe, I think, ADHD, and he would always be in trouble and the teachers would put him in the hallway. And that's when he wrote these books, because he was literally kicked out of the classroom. And this was his creative expression. And I was like, okay, that's a really beautiful story. I can get on board with these books now. And it's just something about me that, like, if I can align with the bigger mission and the human being, then I become even more invested in the experience. So if you haven't read these books, I highly recommend, but it comes with a warning of like, you will not be able to put it down. But one thing I love about the author, Sarah Moss, is that she wrote her first book when she was only 16 years old. She really centers strong and complex female characters. So her characters are not waiting to be rescued. They fight, they feel, they heal, and they lead. Like, there's women leaders in these books, which is so important to me. She's not shying away from like difficult emotional arcs or situations. Like, she really focuses on personal growth and healing and portraying mental health journeys with like really deep rooted sensitivity and depth. She is very community and fan oriented. She's super humble and grateful, and she stays connected with the people that love her work. And my favorite one, why am I getting emotional, is that she's inclusive. So in some of her later works, she's including, diverse characters with LGBTQ representation. And now more than ever, this is just incredibly important. So I'm happy to buy her books. I'm happy to support, the person behind all of this. And it's just been so fun. And with that, I've been doing things like, getting my nails done. I've always only done my nails for like super special occasions. And now I'm doing my nails year round. And it just makes me feel good. So it's like, who knew that binge reading, total fantasy, getting my nails done, getting up at 6 a.m. are some of the most strategic moves that I've ever made for my business. But why is that? It's because it's this constant reminder of who I'm becoming, right? And one of my favorite stories to tell around this was about a year and a half ago, doing my photo shoot that I knew I was going to use to promote my first Elevate and Inspire event. And I remember telling Sharon, my photographer, I said, I want book cover instead of lifestyle. So as an entrepreneur, it always had very lifestyle images, like me on my laptop, me on my phone, me walking down the street. Like, there was this huge trend of getting lifestyle branding pictures. And those are still a thing. However, I knew that I was ready to elevate. I wanted to portray myself in more of a book cover powerhouse feeling. And that was the first step, was that photo shoot. And that one experience taught me so much about identity, because there wasn't anything that I did differently other than tell her what I wanted out of that photo shoot. But the following year, I was like embodying and stepping into that total new identity. Not that I wrote a book. I just wanted that feeling of that book cover type of image, instead of just me, with my laptop and whatever. Very different vibe if you really think about those two types of pictures on a brand level, right? So I have been this year embodying like taking better care of myself. I'm leveling up my wardrobe. I mean, this is along the same vein, but the exact same thing is like having my nails done and reading fantasy books. Like I am trying to get more dressed when I leave the house. And we had a creative network meetup last week, and I was feeling terrible, you guys. I was like very luteal, very bloated. All I wanted to do is wear like baggy clothes and go to this meeting. And I was like, okay, well, this can be it can be baggy and it can be very cute. And I wore a romper and I threw on like a blazer, and it was pretty cute. I felt good, but I just threw my hair up in a ponytail. That I did not over effort myself. Okay. And I am never somebody that gets compliments on my outfit. Like never. That is like, I don't have good enough fashion for that unless it's like a special event, and my friend Lindsay has helped me. But one of the baristas was like, oh my God, I love your outfit so much. And I felt like a badass, because I was like, this was very intentional, that I put a little bit more thought into my outfit and went to this meeting instead of allowing my mood, how I felt, to like dictate how I presented on the outside. And it's just been really fun. And I can feel myself as I'm doing these things, stepping into like a new identity. And identity is the foundation of success. So reading fantasy novels, picking out outfits may not look like a business strategy, but these choices signal to your subconscious, I'm the kind of woman who prioritizes joy, beauty, and expansion. And when we embody that elevated identity, the business shifts too. And my coach always says, your business will only grow as much as you do. And that's exactly what this is. I'm growing. I'm evolving into someone who doesn't sacrifice everything she wants for everyone around me and put myself last. I'm starting to put myself first. And this non-work related joy is what creates sustainable energy. So getting lost in a book or feeling really good about yourself, it's fuel. It prevents burnout. It keeps our creative tank full. And it reminds us that life and business don't have to be separate. Having joy in our life creates that foundation for business success and our next identity. So inspiration doesn't only come from business books. I'm like, who am I? The last decade, all I've read is self-development and business books. And to me, reading these fantasy books is no different than watching a show or a movie, but it feels better because I'm reading, right? And I don't have the data in front of me, but we all just know that reading is really good for you, right? And I'm immersing myself into this like magical world, and my imagination is exploding, and there's emotional intelligence in the book and leadership in the book. So instead of reading about leadership. I'm like immersing myself into it. And it's really fun. I can't even say enough about it. It's really fun. And if you do read these books or you have read them, please reach out to me so we can talk about it because I'm obsessed. And you guys also, this is another really good point, that embodiment is going to attract aligned clients. Okay. Clients are not just buying our expertise. They're buying our energy. They're buying what it is that we give them when they're in our presence, our magnetic leadership that I talk about so often. And it's not about doing more, but like our way of being is more, right? It's that magnetic person in the room versus the person who shrinks, right? We want to be larger than life, not in an obnoxious way, but in a way that makes everyone around us feel really important, or the right people, our dreamiest clients. So these little luxuries, whatever they are for you, they might look different for you. For me, walking in nature is a luxury. Sitting in my bed in my brand new pajamas, by the way, that's another one. I have been sleeping in the same raggedy pajamas for too embarrassing to admit how long. And I have bought myself new pajamas. So I go, it's like totally my happy place. I'm in my brand new pajamas and my robe that I love so much. And I'm reading and drinking my tea. And it's like these little luxuries are a declaration, right? That I am not waiting for permission. I'm not waiting on the podcast sponsor. I am elevating my habits now that elevate my results. And I just get evidence of it over and over again. Like I said, I did absolutely nothing over the weekend. And then first thing Monday morning, I welcomed a new client into the program. Now, those seeds had been planted. It's not like it fell out of the sky. But I trust the seeds that I'm planting so much more than I ever have before. Old me would have like followed up and had a little bit of that desperate energy, like, oh my God, I need them to join. And I am completely detached from any of that at this point. I stay in that power and I just continue to help people. Whoever's in front of me, this is the person that I'm helping, and I'm not begging people. And the universe really responds to that detaching from the outcome and just a sense of a magnetic energy to the right people. This is not like the Liz show saying I'm so amazing and I'm so magnetic. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm magnetic to the right people. That's the important piece. So I hope that this will encourage you to find your little luxuries and remind yourself that every time you do it, you are becoming her. You are stepping into a new identity. They're not random. They're rituals. And each one is saying, I'm choosing to live as the version of me that my business is asking for. And that's really powerful stuff. Really powerful stuff. All right, you guys. So if you're interested in being in my amazing program and you love having these conversations, we do talk about the 4 phases of marketing inside Elevate, but even more importantly, we have a super hyper focus on self-development. And we spend a lot of time talking about these ways to step into a new identity, talking about how do we become the next best version of ourselves so that our business will follow. We think our business has to be successful before we can be the person that gets our nails done. Our business has to make more money before I can take the trip. And it's actually the other way around. We have to become that person in order for our business success to be possible. So if that interests you, you can always sign up for the wait list. Go to elizabethhenson.co/elevate. and jump on the wait list, and you'll hear more about the program and how to join when the doors open. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here today. This is episode 195. So you can go to elizabethhenson.co/E195. We are getting so close to our 200 episode celebration. Please leave us a review on iTunes or share this with a friend. We are starting to put the podcast on YouTube. It's a little crazy right now, but it should be looking better by episode 200. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you soon.